Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back. Today I'm going to present you the topic Introduction to Programming Fundamentals. Brief history. By 1979, Holden Mills strengthened his IID message in software development. Transactions on Software Engineering, December 1979. He writes, software development should be done incrementally, in stages with the continuous user participation and replanning, and with design to cost programming with each stage. An early paper sometimes cited on the subject of the incremental development is a successful software development by Wrong in IEEE Transactions on Software Engineering. It described a successful air defense system project that ran from 1979 to 1980 that combined significant upfront specifications, but with incremental development and builds. The project was obstinately meant to fix within DOD single-pass waterfall standards, with testing and integration in the last phase. However, Wong comments on the unrealism of the approach and their need and advantages using incremental development. What is incremental model? Basically, incremental model is a process of software development where requirements are broken down into multiple standalone modules of software development lifecycle. Incremental development is done in steps from analysis, design, implementation, testing or verification, and maintenance. Each iteration passes through the requirement, design, coding, and testing phases, and each subsequent release of the system adds function to the previous release until all design functionality has been implemented. The system is put into production when the first increment is delivered. To the first increment is often a core product where the basic requirements are addressed and supplementary features are added in the next increments. Once the core product is analyzed by the client, there is a planned development for the next increment. Phases of incremental model: requirement analysis and design and development. In the first phase of the requirement model, the product analysis is expertise identifies the requirements. And in the design and development phase, incremental model of software development lifecycle, the design of the system functionality and the development methods are finished with success. Next, we have testing. In the incremental model, the testing phase checks the performance of each existing function as well as additional functionality. In the implementation stage, implementation phase enables the coding and phase of the development system. It involves the final coding that design in the designing and development phase and tests the functionality in the testing. Characteristics. System development is broken down into many mini development projects. Partial systems are successively built to produce a final total system, and highest priority requirement is tackled first. Once the requirement is developed, requirement for the increment are frozen. Here is incremental model. Comparison of various software development lifecycle models. To manage level of complexity during the software development cycle, various software development lifecycle model is implemented by the software companies. Their aim is to deliver a quality software produce. However, each model is unique in terms of their software development approach. Comparison of incremental model. Here is a comparison of incremental models with incremental model, waterfall model, spiral model, and red model. You can see the properties, planning, returning to earlier, handle large product, detail and requirement, and at the end flexibility. Use of incremental model. Requirements of the system are clearly understood. When demands for an easy release of a product arises, when software engineering terms are not very well skilled or trained, when high-risk features and goals are involved, such methodology is more in use for web application and product-based companies. Incremental model. Advantages and disadvantages of incremental model. The first advantage is the software will generated quickly during the software life cycle, but the disadvantage is it requires a good planning, designing. The next we have it is flexible and less expensive. Its advantage and problems might cause due to the system architecture such as not all requirements collected up for front entire software life cycle is the disadvantage. Then the next we have throughout the development stages changes can be done, but each iteration phase is rigid and does not overlap each other. Next we have this model is less costly compared to others, but rectifying a problem in one unit requires a correction in all the units and consumes a lot of time. Applications of incremental model. There is various software development models in the software development life cycle approach available and used by all software development companies. Each software development application have different requirement based on internal and external factors of the system. There have some situations where the use of incremental model is more suitable and handle the problem by smartly. Incremental model flexibility used when the requirements of the complete system are clearly defined and understood. Major requirements must be defined, however some details can evolve with time. There is a need to get a product to the market early, and resources with needed skill set are not available. There are some high-risk features and goals, and a new technology is being used. For example, according to the incremental model, the software is divided into separate modules components, and each of these modules have a separate set of waterfall activities including requirement gathering and analysis, design, implementation, development, and maintenance. Here is an example of incremental model: increment 1, increment 2, increment 3, and increment 4. We are incrementing the picture step by step to complete the final look. Conclusion. The final conclusion is that the incremental model is a development of system in a series partial product. It needs a clear and complete design to make this incremental model work. It is easy to manage risk because risky pieces are identified intentionally. Incremental model is more cheaper than multi-waterfall. Thus we have many models with which we can develop software and achieve the required projects, but we have seen about one such model called an incremental model with its characteristics, applications, advantages and disadvantages. And the main application where we use this model is where we have clear understanding of requirement and 100% object of the software. So at the end, I want you guys to write the summary in the comments below that what you have learned from this lecture. We have discussed today an incremental model, how we increment steps in incremental model to get the final project. So till then, take care. Allah Hafiz.